So we're going to continue with application. Okay, we have our storage and database added. The React application is running. So let me minimize this, my OBS, and we're going to start with the login and logout as we did before. And let's start building the functions. Async login. There is going to be the function that allows us to log in. It's going to take an email and password. So these functions, we're going to export them and use them in the components. So let's say constant user equals await. That's why we're using async. We're going to await Firebase that auth that sign in. This is the login. Okay, so it's sign in with email and password. It takes the email and password, and here we are going to catch the error of this instance. Let's say error and console.log error, and let's just return the user in case there's a user. So let me scroll a little bit so you can see better. Now we're going to create the login, not the login, sorry, the sign in. Async sign in. It takes the email and password. So it's going to be constant user again equals await Firebase that out that I think is create user with email and password, and now we're going to catch again here the instance of the error of this specific function, and we return the user again. Okay, so we can have that. Let's also build the logout. Async logout is going to be doesn't take anything there. So constant logout, we don't need this. We can just say, let's build it like this: await Firebase out and that sign out is down here. That catch error, in case there's an error with that, console.log error, and let's keep it like that. So we don't need to return anything, and well, we shouldn't need to return anything. So we have these three functions: the login, the sign up, and the logout. Let me fix this because okay. So we have this in order. Now we're going to start creating the navigation. Okay. And after that, the login and sign in. So let's create the navigation first, because we need to handle all the buttons and all that, since we don't have anything yet. Oh no, let's show something first in the screen so we can see something. Okay, so let's build this, and we're going to start. Let's build the main, and we're going to start seeing the changes, because it's better for us to see that. So we're going to import React and React use effect and use state with the link. The first ones are coming from React, and the link is coming from React Router DOM. We're going to skip. No, we're going to right now import it because we're going to use it later. We still don't have the functions we need here, but let's import right away Firebase so we get that out of the way from Firebase config. That is this folder. Now let's create this constant main, and let's say export default main, not like that, main. So we need to return this, and let's return something because else we're going to have an error. Let's return something like a React fragment, and this is going to be a main, just like that. And we need to add actually our routes. So we need to create inside the source a routes.js, routes.js, and add all our configuration. So we're going to import two things first in this route.js, okay? That is React from React and switch route from React router DOM. Here we're importing our components, let's say components. So we're going to import the first one. We have import main from components, and it should tell me, okay, there's the main. We only have this one right now. The navigation is going to be inside, I think, the main or the index. I can't remember. We will check that. So that's why we are not going to import anything here from the navigation. Let's say constant routes. We are going to build the routes now. So this is going to take, or this is going to be inside the switch from React router DOM, and we're going to create the route with the stack path of this slash, and the component we're going to load there is the main component there, and we close this. So we need to export now our routes. Export default routes, and we have our routes set. Later we're going to import also the create and whatever, the login and sign in, okay, inside this, and we will add the respective routes. But right now we only want the main, so we can see something instead of this thing, okay? And we can start working in the navigation, sign in and login and log out functionalities. So now we are going to go to the index because we're using a React router DOM. We need to import, in order for our routes to work, we need to import a browser router, and we need to wrap our app inside the browser router. So let me just get this, and let's just get this. Okay, so all this should be working. Now we're going to go inside our app.js as a index.js, right? No, let's go inside our app.js because this is where we are going to import the navigation and the main. So let me delete these two things, the logo and the app CSS, and let me just remove, yeah, let's remove this and let's start creating it. So here we need to import our routes, okay, because we have the routes created but we are not using them, and although the application has the browser router, and we need to import this as a component. Okay, so let's say import routes from routes, that is the file where we define those, and let's import here navs. Well, not right now because it will give us an error that there's nothing there. So I'm checking. So this is going to be inside the main no, not like that, inside the main, and here we're going to use the routes as a component. Let's save that. It's compiling, it says. Okay. Now, expecting assignment of function calls or expression, routes.js 8. This should be working. Export routes. Oh yeah, because I'm using the same thing that I did before on the other tutorial. Yep. So you can see we need to use these parentheses instead of the curly braces because it's going to render this. As I said, if we use the curly braces like this, okay, we can add logic inside this function. But since we don't need that right away, or in this case, you could use it, but we don't need that. We're not going to build with logic inside the routes. So yeah, that was the problem. So now the main is being added, and let's go to the navigation. I think we could continue. Let me close this and this. Yeah, let's continue with navigation, and let's get that out of the way. So import nav from. Okay, let me just get that. Components nav, of course. I don't know why I had to look for that. Components nav, and we're going to add the navigation here above the main and save that. Okay, we get an error. So let's we can close this. So let's create our navigation. So let's just create this template. So let's import React, use effect and use state from React, link and with router from React router DOM. Okay, let's import those. We need to import Firebase from our Firebase configuration. And now we can say constant. Okay, let me add some space in there. Constant nav equals to this function. We are going to use props and we can define some things right now, but let's just go with the render. So this is going to be something similar to what we did on the other one, but let's build it like this. So this is going to be buttons. This functionality is going to require us to have the user. Okay, so it's not going to work right now. So let's say, but for this we need to actually create a new constant here that is going to handle the state. So let's build it right away. Constant user state and set user state equals to use state false. We're not going to use anything else right now. This is going to be not false, sorry, but null. And we're going to check for this user state inside here. So let's say if user state is not equals to null, we're going to assign something to the buttons. Let's say buttons equals to, let's copy this, a rect fragment and this should be, let me check button sequence. Okay, let's see if is if missing. So we okay, let me try to fix this, because I don't like when this thing is showing those lines export default. And here we're going to say with router, because we want this to redirect. Okay, in this case we can use with router, and we're going to return, let's return something here, because maybe that is the problem. Let's return the nav. Okay, so actually there seems to be a problem with this. Okay, let me just remove this, make sure this is working. We're going to add that in a second. Okay, so let's say nav, no, let's say nav, and let's see if that fix the, yep, we get that. So sometimes there's an error, and you know, that could set us off track. But now we can check this. So let's say if not buttons but user state is not equals to null, and now we can use this. Okay, let's add a little indentation there. So we're going to say buttons equals, let's add this, and we're going to copy and paste this. Okay, so this is a React fragment, and in case the user state is not null, meaning there's a user, we still don't have that functionality, we're going to render this logout with the onClick logout that we need to create here. So let's say constant logout equals not like that, okay, like this, and here we're going to log out the user, and let's say console.log user is logged out, just like that. So it so this doesn't render an error. Inside this, let's copy this, because this is just setting the buttons, and it's not that hard to see what is going on here. So we're going to create another fragment, and we're creating a fragment because we want to have in two. Okay, this is a wrapper. So this is going to be the sign in and login. So in case the user state is null, we're going to render the login and sign in. Okay, now we can create our navigation here. So let me remove this, create the first part. I'm just going to copy and paste it. This shouldn't be a problem. It indexed wrong, so you can see. Okay, so this is the first part, React Firebase hooks with the link that is going to redirect us to the main route. And here we're going to create another one, UL, with this new post. Let me just remove the space. Okay, with this new post, and below this one we're going to add our buttons that right now should be only sign in and login. Okay, so we have the navigation there. Okay, I think we're gonna keep this video as it is, just to have it, so we can create later in the next video the functionality of the sign in and login, and have those in the same video. Okay, So right now we just created navigation and we will continue in the next one.